Schultz Weber wrote, "From his rough-hewn throne of a cross, Christ the King looks at the world, and no one escapes his judgment. Those who betray him, those who execute him, those who love him, and those who ignore him. He judges us all. From the cross, the pronouncement is made, and the judgment is final. And that judgment is forgiveness. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they are doing." Through this lens of amazing forgiveness, let us read together the Holy Scripture that meets us on this day we call Good Friday. As told in the Gospel of Luke, chapters 22 and 23, select verses. A crowd came up, and the man who was called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He approached Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus asked him, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" When Jesus' followers saw what was going to happen, they said, "Lord, should we strike with our swords?" And one of them struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his right ear. But Jesus answered, "No more of this." And he touched the man's ear and healed him. Then, seizing him, the officers led him away and took him to the house of the high priest. Peter followed at a distance. A servant girl saw him and said, "This man was with Jesus." But Peter denied it. A little later, someone else saw him and said, "You also are one of them." "Man, I am not," Peter replied. About an hour later, another asserted, "Certainly this fellow was with him, for he is a Galilean." Peter replied, "I don't know what you are talking about." Just as he was speaking, the rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered what the Lord had said to him, and he went outside and wept bitterly. The men who were guarding Jesus began mocking him and beating him. Then the whole assembly led him off to Pilate. Pilate asked Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "You have said so," Jesus replied. Then Pilate announced to the chief priests and to the crowd, "I find no basis for a charge against this man." But they insisted. "He stirs up the people all over Judea by his teaching. He started in Galilee and has come all the way here." On hearing this, Pilate asked if the man was a Galilean. And when he learned that Jesus was under Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who was also in Jerusalem at that time. Now when Herod saw Jesus, he was greatly pleased because for a long time he had been wanting to see him. From what he had heard about Jesus, he hoped to see him perform a sign of some sort. He plied him with many questions, but Jesus gave him no answer. The chief priests and the teachers of the law were standing there and they were accusing him. Then Herod and his soldiers began ridiculing and mocking him. Dressing him in an elegant robe, they sent him back to Pilate. That day, Herod and Pilate became friends. Before this, they had been enemies. Pilate called together the chief priests, the rulers, and the people, and said to them, "You brought me this man as one who was inciting the people to rebellion. I have examined him in your presence, and I have found no basis for your charges against him. Neither has Herod. He has done nothing to deserve death." But the whole crowd shouted, "Away with this man!" Wanting to release Jesus, Pilate appealed to them again, but they kept shouting, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" For the third time, he spoke to them. "Why? What crime has this man committed? I have found in him no grounds for the death penalty." But with loud shouts, they insistently demanded that he be crucified, and their shouts prevailed. So Pilate decided to grant their demands. As the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon from Cyrene and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned and said to him, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children." Two other men, both criminals, were also let out with him to be executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there. Along with the criminals, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." The people stood watching, and the rulers sneered at him. The soldiers also came up and mocked him. One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him, but the other criminal rebuked him. "Don't you fear God?" he said. "We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise."
We tried, we failed, do too little, too late. We wish we could walk away. We're hurt, we hurt, nothing seems to work. We don't know what to say. Forgive us, forgive us. We know not what we do. Be with us, be with us. We don't know what to do. What's wrong, what's right? Hard to see without sight. Blindly we come to you. Forgive us, forgive us. We know not what we do. Be with us, be with us. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to pray here, stay here. All we hope is that you're here. Help us seek justice, love, mercy. Walk humbly here. Forgive us, forgive us. We know not what we do. Be with us, be with us. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do.
The Reverend Nadia Bolz-Weber writes, "From his cross, Christ loves the betrayer, the denier, the violent, the God killer in all of us. And despite our protests, he will not even lift a finger to condemn those who put him up there, because it is finally only a God unlike us, a God who enters our human existence and suffers our insults with only love and forgiveness, who can save us from ourselves. And I would contend that through the cross, we know that God isn't standing smugly at a distance, but that God's abundant grace is hiding in, with, and under all the brokenness in the world around us. God is present with us in all of it. And while the suffering and death of Jesus Christ on the cross is not about you, it is certainly for you. In fact, God is so for you that there is no place God will not go to be with you. Nothing separates you from the love of God in Jesus. Not insults, not betrayal, not suffering. And as we will soon see at Easter, not even death itself. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. For the sun stopped shining, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Jesus called out with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." When he had said this, he breathed his last.